Chosen one, listen closely, because this message is not for everyone. It's for the one who's been feeling eyes on them, even when no one is there. It's for the one who walks into a room and the energy instantly shifts. It's for the one who can sense when something unseen is paying attention. You've been feeling watched, and you're right, but it's not paranoia, it's purpose. The truth is, heaven is aware. Every move you make, every tear you shed, every silent moment of endurance, none of it goes unseen, because when you were chosen, heaven assigned eyes to you. Not to control you, but to cover you. Not to monitor you in judgment, but to guard the destiny written over your life. You see, in the spiritual realm, nothing goes unnoticed. When you pray, heaven records it. When you worship through pain, angels move in alignment. When you stand tall after an attack meant to break you, your strength is reported back to the throne. You are documented by light. But here's the part that most people never understand. The moment heaven's eyes were placed upon you, darkness noticed too. And ever since then, you've been watched by both sides. Stay with me because this next part is deeper than you think. You're being observed not because of what you've done, but because of what you carry. Your spirit emits a frequency the enemy cannot ignore. Every demon, every low vibrational energy, every jealous spirit, they can sense your light from miles away. You shine differently. You walk differently. You think differently. That's why they monitor you. They study your weaknesses, your patterns, your emotions, hoping to find a way in. But what they don't understand is that heaven has already seen their strategy. Before the enemy moves, heaven is already aware. Before the trap is set, the divine plan is already 2 steps ahead. Chosen one, heaven's awareness is your shield. Even when you feel alone, even when people betray you, even when no one seems to believe in you, heaven is aware. They saw what they did to you. They heard what they said behind your back. They witnessed the unfair treatment, the gossip, the setups. And the reason you're still standing is because heaven intervened in silence. But listen closely, because this next part will shock you. You were never meant to move unseen. Your presence on earth activates movements in the unseen realm. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift because heaven moves with you. When you speak truth, strongholds start to crumble because your voice carries authority. That's why the watchers grow restless. That's why energy changes when you enter a space. They're not reacting to your body. They're reacting to your anointing. You have divine surveillance on your side, not for fear, but for strategy. Because God doesn't just send you into battle, He sends intel with you. That's why sometimes you know things before they happen. That's why your spirit gets quiet before something breaks loose. That's why your intuition warns you about people you've barely met. You are connected to heaven's early warning system. But let's go deeper, because there's something powerful you need to understand. When heaven watches, it's not passive, it's participatory. The eyes of heaven respond. Every time you rise above temptation, heaven records victory. Every time you forgive instead of retaliate, angels take note. Every time you choose peace instead of chaos, light expands through you. Heaven is aware, and heaven reacts. The more you align with your calling, the more visible you become in both realms. That's why sometimes life feels heavier. That's why spiritual attacks increase. That's why you feel pressure even when you're doing everything right. Because when you carry divine fire, both heaven and hell pay attention. But don't let that scare you. Let it remind you of your authority. Because no matter who's watching, you are the one holding the command. The watchers may observe, but heaven protects. The enemy may study, but God decides. Chosen one, heaven's awareness is your evidence that you were never forgotten. You've wondered why certain things didn't destroy you. You've questioned why God stayed silent while others mocked or betrayed you. But He wasn't silent. He was watching and preparing. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was surveillance. Heaven's been collecting receipts, and soon those who watched you suffer are about to watch your elevation. Because heaven doesn't just watch your pain, it watches your comeback. Heaven studies your response, not your circumstance. And every time you stayed faithful, every time you held on, Every time you believed when it made no sense, the record was kept. That's why the blessing coming to you isn't random. It's a divine response to what heaven witnessed in private. Chosen one, what heaven has been watching is not just your pain, it's your preparation. Every sleepless night, every moment you wanted to give up but didn't, every time you stood in faith when everything in the natural said you were done, heaven documented all of it. And now heaven is not just watching, heaven is responding. Listen closely, because this next part will change the way you see your entire journey. You see, there comes a moment in every chosen one's life when divine observation becomes divine action. Heaven moves from watching to intervening. It happens suddenly. One shift, one opportunity, one conversation, and everything begins to move in your favor. People will call it luck, but you'll know it's divine timing, because when heaven is aware, nothing escapes divine justice. The tears you cried in silence, they were recorded. The betrayals you endured with grace, witnessed. The sacrifices you made when no one was clapping, heaven saw it all. But here's what's even more powerful. Heaven didn't just watch you. It watched them. It watched those who lied on your name. It watched those who used your kindness as weakness. It watched those who mocked your calling, ignored your loyalty, and secretly wished for your downfall. They thought they got away with it. But heaven was aware, and now the same eyes that saw you weeping in the dark are the eyes preparing your public vindication. Chosen one, you are entering a season where divine exposure is at hand. Everything that was hidden is being revealed. Every mask is being removed. Every injustice is coming to light, because heaven is not blind, heaven is not silent, and heaven does not forget. But here's the mystery. Not all watchers are enemies. Some of the ones observing you in silence were assigned by heaven. There are divine witnesses sent to record your obedience. There are angels that follow you not to intervene every time, but to take account of your endurance, because what you conquer here becomes part of your heavenly record. Every time you resist darkness, your authority increases. Every time you choose peace, your rank rises in the spirit. Every time you trust God in confusion, your light becomes harder for darkness to approach. That's why you've been feeling the tension, because you are being elevated, and elevation always draws observation. But stay alert, because not every eye on you is holy. There are those who study your behavior, your patterns, your weaknesses, hoping to imitate or exploit your light. They want to know how you keep shining when you're under pressure. They want to understand how you maintain peace when everything should have broken you. They want to copy your grace, but they don't carry your oil. This is why discernment is crucial in this season. You cannot afford to ignore your intuition. You cannot afford to question that inner alarm when something feels off. That's heaven's early warning system speaking through your spirit. When you feel that sudden shift at that tightness in your chest, that sense that you need to withdraw, it's not anxiety, it's spiritual intelligence. Heaven alerts you before the enemy acts. You've been kept from certain people, certain places, certain opportunities, not because you're unlucky, but because heaven saw what you couldn't. Chosen one, here's what demons don't want you to know. They can observe you, but they can't touch your destiny. They can whisper, but they can't override divine command. They can gather information, but they can't access revelation. Because while they're watching you, heaven is watching them, and heaven outranks them every time. Your life is under constant divine surveillance, but not to limit you, to protect you. God keeps his eyes on what he values, and you have no idea how much value you carry in the spirit. Every battle, every delay, every test was preparation for what's coming now. You had to be observed through pressure to prove your endurance. You had to be tested in silence to earn divine trust. You had to be watched in the valley before heaven could release you to the mountain. And now the watchers, both divine and demonic, are about to witness your rise. They're going to see how faith survives fire. They're going to see how favor follows obedience. They're going to see how a chosen one, underestimated and overlooked, becomes the living evidence of God's hand. But listen, this is your reminder, stay spiritually alert, because elevation doesn't remove observation, it intensifies it. When heaven begins to move in your life, You'll notice new eyes on you. Some inspired, others envious. You'll notice people watching your every post, your every move, your every word. You'll feel eyes that don't celebrate your blessings, but question why you have them. And that's when you must walk in wisdom. Not everyone who sees you shining deserves access to your process. You are not obligated to explain divine timing to carnal minds. Move in silence just as heaven does, because not every watcher is ready for what heaven is about to unveil through you. So hear this clearly, chosen one. You are seen, you are protected, you are documented in light. Heaven knows who tried to break. Heaven knows who prayed against. Heaven knows who stood by you when no one else did, and heaven knows it's your time. Everything is shifting in your favor, quietly, deliberately, divinely. While they watched to see you fail, heaven watched to establish your victory. While they studied your weakness, heaven reinforced your strength. While they thought you were alone, heaven surrounded you with an army unseen. Because when heaven is aware, protection is inevitable, and victory is guaranteed. Now that you've heard this powerful message, I want to hear from you. If this spoke to your spirit and you're ready to rise above every attack, take a moment to comment "I'm ready" below. Declare your faith, your strength, and your trust in God's plan for your life. Don't forget to hit that like button if you feel inspired, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a message of encouragement, empowerment, and divine truth. Remember, you were chosen for this moment. If you want to go even deeper and support the channel, consider joining my YouTube membership for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes access, and more. Or you can use Super Thanks to show your appreciation for the effort that goes into creating this content. Your support means the world to me. You can also check out my shop tab for merchandise that helps support this channel and keeps these messages flowing. For more videos like this, click on the ones on your end screen. Let's keep walking together in faith. And as always, stay connected to your divine purpose. God's plan is unfolding, and you are part of something greater than you could ever imagine.